That's pretty cool. Well, welcome to the podcast.
Jiu-Jitsu? I'm going to learn Jiu-Jitsu. Oh, shit.
Welcome to Freedom to Fight. I'm your host, Anura Mathis, and I am so thrilled to introduce my next episode. This is episode 2, season 2. I am so glad you're still listening. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for your support. I will leave details at the end of the episode of how to support me. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you my next guest, Matt Veiga. He is a first degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He is the host and creator of OSS Nation, BJJ. He's on YouTube, he's on Instagram. He is very influential and inspiring, honestly. We have a great conversation about injury recovery and trauma and his incredible journey, and I'm really, really thrilled to share that with you. Thank you for continuing to listen to me. Thank you to all the new followers, and I'm going to shut up now. Introducing Matt Veiga. But it says recording on my end. Is it recording on yours? Yeah. Awesome. Well, welcome, Matt, to Freedom to Fight. I'm going to introduce myself, and then you can introduce yourself, and then we can jump into questions. So,
Okay.
I'm your host, Anura Mathis with Freedom to Fight. It's been a long hiatus of of no episodes, but this is season 2. You will be episode 2, and yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you. So I'm going to let you talk for the majority of the time. So go ahead.
Okay. My name is Matt Veiga. I'm a first degree black belt under Ricardo Feliciano. Check Matt. I've been in training for coming up close to maybe 15 years now. I'll be getting my second degree probably in the summer of 2024. And I've just been injury ridden and just, I just love the sport of jiu-jitsu, and that's kind of besides being a dad, it's probably my favorite thing to do. So, yeah, so I'm just happy to be on the show. Thanks for having me. I love doing podcasts.
Yeah, I'm so glad I was brave enough to ask you, but it's like I'm sharing your memes. I might as well just see if you're down.
You just gotta shoot it. You gotta shoot your shot.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna. You mentioned that you've been training for a very long time, but I really want to talk to you about injuries because that's why I took such a long hiatus. So, what kind of injuries have you recovered from?
Okay. All right. So I had a knee surgery in 2011, MCL, PCL, ACL tear, a complete reconstruction. So I've had 3 knee surgeries on that knee. In my knee, I've had a dislocated hip. I've had a sprained spine. I've had a broken orbital bone. I broke my arm. I've severely torn tendons in my wrist, a wrist lock, tapped to those. I've had no reconstruction. Some of this was MMA stuff too that caused some of these like lagging injuries. Of course, broke some ribs, tore some cartilage in between my ribs. Just the tweaked hamstrings, calves, torn muscles, basic stuff like that. But yeah, I've had probably like 4 or 5 surgeries because of jiu-jitsu.
Wow. Okay. Well, you're here.
Some people just run into all the luck. I guess that's me. I'm the guy that always gets hurt.
Wow. But you recovered. And you're.
That's it. I'm still training. My whole, I thought my motivation was like, I just want to get my black belt. That was my thing. I was like, nothing's going to stop me from getting my black belt. And I'd be getting these injuries at blue belt and at white, I got hurt, and I got hurt at purple belt, and like brown belt, I was so hurt that I hardly could even train at brown. I was like just so banged up at brown belt. It was like my injury belt. But like the black belt was always my goal. Like that, I set a goal, I want that, and then it happened. And I had my black belt in 2018, and I was like, you sometimes you feel like the motivation was chasing the belt, was the motivation to keep going because it's something I wanted so bad. But once I got the black belt, the motivation doesn't stop. You realize that the love for the sport and the love for the art is why you were going. When you think you were going because of the belt, but you weren't. You were going because you actually love it. I actually like teaching something I like doing more than competing. Um, so like I would see my belt and it was just a black belt, and I see the guys ahead of me with like stripes on their belt, and I'd be like, oh, my belt looks lame. I need to get some stripes on my black belt. So like it just never ends. So chasing the belt is something I thought I was doing, but come to find out, I actually just loved jiu-jitsu so much that that's why I was going. It wasn't because of the belt at all.
Well, I'm pretty new in the game, but I'm only got two stripes on my white belt, but that's not nothing, and it's
Hey,
something
I did a video on my YouTube. I did a video on my YouTube. Your first stripe is a big deal. It's a big deal. First stripe is a big deal. Your first stripe um, is separates you from the people who just signed up. It's like your professor notices you now. He's
yeah,
like you're one. You know what I mean? Like you're in now. It's like you're not just the person who just signed a waiver. You're like you're in the game now. And I think um, you shouldn't take your first stripe for granted because your first couple stripes that just means like you actually set your mind something and you're in the journey now.
yeah.
Anybody, you're not the person, you're not the girl you were before you signed up. You're a girl, you have one stripe. Like you're learning.
Right.
And yeah, you should be proud. You should be proud of that.
I am proud of it, and I'll tell you, I got into martial arts not um really, of course, just blinded by what I could get, but I um really didn't count myself as part of the group, part of the dojo, part of the gym. And when I got my stripe, I was like, oh, me? Now I'm a part of it.
Yeah,
Now I've accomplished.
exactly.
And I cried for a week. It just was, well, I was training in BJJ, in Muay Thai, and wrestling. And so I got promoted in both Muay Thai and BJJ, and I was like, this this is so much. I had no idea people
It,
were paying attention or that I was really doing well.
and I have like more. There's like it's more respect for the females and the smaller guys who join a martial art. I'm a big guy. I'm 255 pounds. I'm a big guy. So even when I'm a white belt and I'm going against someone small, like I'm still a big guy. You know what I mean? Like when you're a female or you're a smaller athlete and you're trying jiu-jitsu and you just know you're going to get destroyed for a long time before you actually start doing some stuff in there. You know what I mean? You're 2-star white belt. You're probably still going through it now, but you're going to take and to keep coming back and to persevere and keep coming back after taking L's, after taking L's, after taking loss, and keep coming up. The lower weight class people or the females who make it to black belt, it's harder for you guys to make it to black belt than it is for, would say, a guy my size because I can spend a lot of my time stalling on top, smashing, rest rounds, this, that, and this, just on my pure size, right? And I definitely have done that, and especially in my lower belts. But the smaller athletes and the females that can grind, especially in a male-dominated sport, and you guys can climb the ladder, it just shows perseverance, it shows willpower, heart, and determination. So you should be proud of your two stripes. It's not easy to get.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I am so fortunate to come across the people that I have, including you. But on my last season, I think this is episode 9, maybe 10. Natalie Boss is black belt, and she's such a dope person. She's a like a personal trainer. She's a coach. She's a registered dietitian. She's just a boss, and her last name is Boss. But I have so much respect for her, I um and she has a podcast. And she's a mom. She's just everything. She's just doing everything, and she sustained an injury soon after I did, and then she re-injured herself. She injured her neck. Um, so I want to kind of bring back the conversation to injury recovery, because part of the reason, well, the main reason why I haven't been training, so I'm not training right now, but I'm looking for a gym to get back in it. I sustained a concussion that was really, really serious.
Mm.
And I'm curious if you have ever had one of those, and like what recovery looks like, even just for your injuries, if you haven't had a concussion before.
I, I have concussion before. I didn't mention that before, but I have had a concussion before, and those are not to be messed around with. Brain injuries, definitely. I mean, you got to come back at your own time, your own pace. I always tell guys, say, that have a knee injury or they're coming back from knee surgery or whatever kind of injury they have, they're always telling me like, "Oh, I'm coming back," because your heart wants to come back with your brain. Like you're like, I can get back right now. I feel okay. I can go right now. When you feel like you're ready to come back, you should probably wait another 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, and just be smart, because I've seen so many guys come back early. I did this on my first knee surgery. I was like, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm gonna go roll. I'm just gonna do technique. I'm just gonna be light. I'm just gonna do this and this, and I come back and next thing, the guy ahead of me is ramping it up a little bit, and I'm gonna try to ramp it a little bit, and then all of a sudden I like, oh, there, my knee again. Like, like did I come back too soon? So when you feel like you're ready to come back, a little bit longer. That's my advice. Jiu-Jitsu is gonna outlive us all. It's gonna be here forever. Um, don't. It's gonna be there when you're ready, when you're really ready. But a brain injury, concussion is something you should really, if you're still seeing sensitivity to light, and you know what I mean, like you're still having any kind of like um, remaining issues with the concussion, then you definitely should make sure you're 100% before you come back.
So when I heard, and Natalie, Nattie was very instrumental in my recovery, just because she's inspirational, and she's a good support. She introduced me to like the concussion kind of community. There's a woman that's in Canada, and I'll include her details in this episode. But I went to one of their like concussion discussions, and learned that, yeah, concussions are not to be messed with. You have to fully recover. Some people, and most people, don't fully recover. And if you've sustained another concussion after you've had one, that can be lethal. So I'm really grateful for the people that I've connected with, because it's not just the physical aspect. It's not just, yeah, it's a TBI, it's a traumatic brain injury, but it's also traumatic. It's mentally traumatic. I'm a therapist. And so this was
You
such a life
the fear thing.
changing experience. Yeah.
How did it happen? How did it happen?
So, I think uh, it's kind of hard to say, but it happened in training. So I was doing a lot. I was preparing for my first BJJ competition. This was state. This was like kind of a lot for me to be doing at that time. But I was also preparing for promotion. So I got another stripe on my belt. I got another, or I was preparing for promotions in Muay Thai. And so that was just too much. And I was just doing all of it. And I think that I did not give myself enough time to recover. I was burning so many calories. I was burning like 3,500 calories a day. It's just so
Yeah,
much. And
the perfect storm.
I wasn't replenishing, yeah, myself. So I was already kind of, in a position where I was a little weak. And I think just, you know, the combinations and Muay Thai and getting hit too hard by people that really did know better than me. So it's not that it's, but I don't want to spend time pointing fingers. What I want to say is that it can happen. It just can happen to anybody, and there are precautions that need to be taken to ensure that people are not getting injured in this way, because a concussion can mean you lose all your intelligence. You lose, the conscious part of
Stroke, all that kind
yourself.
of,
Like,
yeah.
and my career outside of martial arts is a mental health professional. I'm very needed right now, and probably for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So I have I have to consider that. So after sustained my concussion and went to the hospital and took some time off, I looked for other gyms. Like, I toured other gyms, and I think that was maybe too soon. I didn't do any, where I'm training live. I was just doing it on the bag, and that was fun. But just being in those environments was overwhelming to me. Like, I just go home and cry because it was too new. I joined a Gracie gym. That was amazing, and I felt, very welcome there. But that was part of the trigger, was that I was around people that I could trust, because I was around people that I could trust when I got injured. So it took me quite a bit. I tried another gym in Texas, and it was not the time. So I sustained my concussion the end of October. I toured those gyms November, December, January, I think February too. And I'm just now realizing I'm ready to start again. So, yeah, life changing.
See, I don't know like, as you know, the medical side of it. For me, it's like you get, I, I'm proud of you for just fighting your fears. Like, you had a concussion and you're still walking in the door and doing the same thing that might have caused you trauma. That takes a lot of stones to do that, So you should keep your chin and be proud of yourself for doing that, because some people will just quit after an injury, or some people will just be like, okay, it's not for me. I tried it. The bigger picture with martial arts is my daughter, for example. Like, I feel like she has to be a blue belt. There's no, it's gonna happen. Like, whether then she can quit. But like, in the world today, females got to be able to take care of them and protect themselves. So I feel like you still going in there and chasing that dragon. Uh, that's very, very. I applaud you for that.
Thank you. Well, I'll be clear. I don't know. I'm not trained in the medical side of things. Trauma, meaning like mental health. But
Right. Fear and like their side. So like, you still fighting those hurdles and going anyways is a big thing.
yeah.
Do you
And
think you knowing self-diagnose? You think being able to self-diagnose yourself? Do you feel like that helped you get into the gym? Like,
I
you know what it is?
well, then it did. Yeah, and I know that that's part of recovery, is that you have to face your fears. It's you can't get around something. You have to go through it. And going through it was very terrifying, but I feel that gave me the fearlessness. I know when I go back, and I will document it. When I go back, I will be better than I ever have been. There's just no doubt about it. Um, I understand what I need to do to take care of myself, and so yeah, I'm super excited, and this is going to be a lifelong journey. I'd like to get to a position where I could teach as well. Even just teaching my clients, that would be that to me, I think would be a really big deal, just to teach people that are in their own mental health recovery, how to do jiu-jitsu, how to do Muay Thai, yeah, wrestling.
Be great.
So when did you say you got started in martial arts? What year did you start?
Well, I mean, when I was a child, I did Kyokushin karate. That was my mother putting me in it. So I don't, and I got up to like green belt or something like that, but it was a junior belt. So I really, it was just, I was just doing something with my, took a step back, did traditional sports. And when that was over, around 2009 is when I started training, for MMA and for a little fight team in my local town. But I was training under a blue belt. A blue belt was teaching me. So I wasn't really belting up or anything like that. So that was like 2007. So then in 2009 is when I actually found a gym that had a black belt professor, because there wasn't really many black belt professors in that time. Now they're everywhere. But back then, like I had to travel like 40 miles to see a black belt. So I didn't have that at the time. So I was like, I can't do that. So I never thought it was a thing. So I was actually a white belt for 5 years. And then, once I finally got to a black belt, I built it up, and I worked my way up to it. I did a bunch of different gyms. I've trained at Gracie. I've trained at American Top Team. I've trained for, and now, then, yeah, so I've trained with a bunch of different gyms, and I finally found a home and a professor. Finding the right gym is important, because the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, that is so important to find a good niche of people. And that's why in one of my YouTubes, I do a blog and I say, you should adopt a white belt. Saying like, you don't have to be a black belt to adopt a white belt. You should always adopt somebody, because the person who comes into class, trains, just grabs her bag and goes, and she just took all these losses in class. And then there's always these little social circles in the gym, people talking. And then a new person just comes in and leaves, leaves. You should bring them over, introduce them, let them hang out, because, adopt a white belt. Because I think people who go train, that someone invited them, like a friend, come do jiu-jitsu with me, and then they automatically have a friend there. So then they're automatically in a circle. The person who signs the waiver and just comes right in, they just go home, and they don't ever, and if there's so many people to stare at, like maybe they just get lost in the craft. So I feel like everybody should adopt a white belt. But yeah, I started in 2009, still going strong. No sign of stopping.
That's awesome. I'm trying to think of what I was doing in 2009. I wasn't thinking of MMA, or I had such an aversion to it when I was younger. Because I was told that this is the worst thing to do. Violence is bad. And
Yeah.
everything. I realize everything has its place, and I want to speak on that, because adopting a white belt, because that was my experience, just trying to go be at the back. I think it's part of why martial arts helps to heal trauma, is being inclusive, being a part of a group. But it can do just the opposite as well, because we're all people,
Mm-hmm.
and people that come to martial arts are not always healing that other part of themselves, so they're bringing that into the gym, and jealousies and whatever it is, whatever agenda has, they're bringing it into the gym. And I think that also needs to kind of be something that is accounted for and looked out for. It's hard to do it if you're not looking for it, if you're not expecting that to happen, or not like calling it out. But that's what causes injuries. If somebody wants to come in the door and just plow, like they have that
Yeah.
agenda to do. We have to be really cognizant, because that could end up ending that. I mean, that's just the truth.
Yeah, it is. Everybody's coming in for a different reason too. So that's another thing. You don't know. someone signed up? Are they going through something at home? Are they for stress relief? Are they doing for weight loss? So, you could get, I remember rolling a female in our gym, and I was rolling with her, and then she just started crying as we're rolling. And I was like, what's going on? And obviously she had something, she was working through something that happened outside of the gym. I'm not going to get into that. But that, she will end up, I just need to go outside. And she went outside and she was just crying out there. And I was like, hey, it's okay. And she's still in the gym. She still comes. She's like climbing up the ladder now. But like she just had to, those were fears and battles she had. We don't know why she signed up. I do. But like, like coming in, and I didn't know that. And like, so you don't know what's going on. Someone's like just trying to take out aggression on somebody. You can tell when you lock up with somebody what, like, whoa, you're like, you working something out here? It was
okay. Now like you sound pretty angry.
I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I'm fine. I love it.
kind of love ramp it up with them a little bit, but it's good to like just take everybody in as like, and especially if you're new and you're coming in, like you got to just come in and just like, try to leave leave the stuff in the basement and just come in and train. You know what I mean? It's hard to do that sometimes because you just want to take your aggressions out, whether you're fighting with somebody at home or whatever, but you got to really try to do that. Jiu-Jitsu is also a good place to get that stuff out. So, especially if you're a lower belt and you get to roll with an upper, they should like, so some people say rolling with a spasm white belt is the most scariest thing there is, right? They're like, oh, the spasm white belt hurt me. You always hear these higher belts being like, I don't help the new guys because they're just trying to hurt me. And my philosophy is, if you're scared to roll with the person that signed the waiver, why are we even here? Like, are we getting better? Like, you should every once in a while want to roll with the guy or the new guy. Even you, when you get back into it, you should want to roll with a guy that's bigger than you and doesn't know anything, because that's why we're here in the first place.
Yeah.
Self-defense. That's the guy that you're going to see outside of Walmart at 10 p.m. So you should like, I'm not all I don't want to get hurt, but sometimes I need to lock horns with the new green guy, with my professor here. I know if it gets too crazy, it'll stop. I can tap and get out of it if it's too much, but I need to see if I'm progressing in the game. I need to see if I actually can handle myself in that situation. And I know these fazzy white belt guys that are going to do it for me.
Yeah. I said that to one of my friends. She's my friend, but rolling partners as well. That I think it's imperative that women and men roll together, because I told her
100%.
women are not going to be the ones that are attacking you. I mean, they're not attacking a man. So, what are you really doing? Like, are you preparing for that attack? Even in competition, I know that there's not a ton of that where you can roll or compete against, the mixed genders, men and women. But I just think it's the way it should be. And I think that it helps develop trust in the other,
do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because for me it was not natural to tangle like that. And I love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu so much. Koza Rogan actually was the first person I sort of talk about all that stuff, and I do that a couple of times a week. I do.
Why? I need more detail on why.
Well, you see why, like, it's good for, I think, people to touch one another in a way that is playful and absolutely consensual, but sort of assertive. It's like kind of, I heard a YouTuber say, like dance actually. And it's very good for me. It really puts me in my body. It's not cerebral. I don't know about you, Stephen, but I suspect you're the same. I am very intellectually oriented. I live in here. I find it very easy to be self-obsessed and to get just caught up in all that stuff. So things that put me in my body, the body holds the key. The body, you've got a body, is important.
Like the woman that you brought up, like I've done a lot of trauma healing by being around men in the most vulnerable positions that I could then trust. I loved them. They were on my show. They're my first episodes. Like, they helped me to start to trust men again, just in
Yeah.
general. So I just want to say
It's,
that.
and then you hear it like another girl in class a couple months ago was like rolling with a newer guy, but she wasn't tapping him out. He was a bigger guy, but she's like a purple belt, right? And she's like, man, I just can't figure it out. And I had to pull her aside, and I was like, did he tap you? She said, no. Did he pass your guard? She said, no. I was like, you're not, the jiu-jitsu was not designed for you to tap this big guy. The jiu-jitsu was designed for you to stay safe and find a way to get away. He did not advance position. He did not tap you. You kept the overhook. You dominated the whole time, and he couldn't do nothing about it for 5 minutes. That's plenty of time for you to be screaming, asking for help. You know what I mean? Like, you did great. I was like, so you got to know where your wins are compared to that you're going against. And I think sometimes girls think that since they're a higher belt, they got to tap out this white guy. But you got to realize genetics is a thing, and just by you controlling him is winning.
Yeah. I can't wait to compete. I know that I know it's going to take some time to get back to where I was, my goodness, but physically, but I think that'll be really important to putting yourself in an environment where people are watching you and there's
It's different.
and yeah, and
It's different. It's a different level. It's a different step up, because people bring their families and stuff to watch. So no one wants to lose in front of their families. So it's kind of like you're trying to, like, especially for men. I always tell my guys, I'm like, hey, I would leave the wife and kids at home, the girlfriend at home, as when you're going to compete, because no one wants to lose in front of their girl. And that's just going to add a lot of pressure in front of you. And why not just go with the squad that you train with every night or every morning and in front of us every day? Like, just get after it. Like, don't add the pressure. Just sit there and just do it yourself. That's a little thing I like to do, but some people just bring the whole family. Like, I'm like, if you ever see like the upper belts, no one really goes with them. It's always the white belts, because they all the support, like it's like traditional American sports. But you got to realize it's not traditional American sports. These guys choke you out. So
right. I think that both are good. Honestly, I haven't experienced either, but I'll speak to the latter, or to the having family be there, having people see you maybe lose. I think that's just another step up. Not being afraid of that.
being afraid. That's the diff. Yeah, I can see that.
So
I can see that.
I'm gonna kind of jump through some more questions because I don't want to keep you for too long. So
Okay.
what's your goals for martial arts? Like, you've been training for so long. What is there anything in the making? Like, do you have your own gym? Would you like your own gym? Like, what do you want to do with the rest of your career?
Profession, I got about 10 years so I can retire. And then after that, who knows? Maybe I will have my own gym someday. I've been kind of covering and teaching morning classes for my professor now, and I enjoy that. And I think that's really stepping my game up to, like, there's three stages of a move to me. There's knowing the move, doing the move, and doing it live. And or knowing the move, teaching the move, then doing it live. And it's hard to find your rhythm as a coach to talk to a big group of guys or girls to show them moves. So to me, that is it's been a growth experience. So maybe I will want to open my gym someday after I retire from my profession, my 9 to 5. But basically, I just do it because now I have more goals. Like, when I was a white belt and I said I don't make the black belt, people were like, man, that's almost impossible. Not many, only 1% of people do that. And so like, and everybody laughed at me then, or people were like, yeah, right. That's not going to happen. There's not even a black belt in this city. You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to do that? But that's something I wanted and I attained that. Now, those coral belts look pretty cool. And I will be in my 60s when that happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm 39 now. So I'm like, if I can stay healthy, God will. Like, may seem like a pipe dream now, and people are like, come on, man. But I've heard that before when I was alive. You know what I mean? So if I can just keep grinding, who knows what'll happen. So
How old?
I'm always trying to chase. I'll be in my 60s. I'm 39 right now.
You're 39 now. Awesome. Cool.
So I'll be in my 60s when that happens.
You really have dedicated your life to this. So
I've been doing it since I was like early 20s.
it's so nice to meet you. Like, I would like to meet you in person, but I love connecting with people that are just really in it and passionate about it. So
I feel the same. I love meeting people too.
okay, so I really want to ask these questions, and you get to tell me, what you're comfortable with. But because I am a mental health professional, I think that training in martial arts, I think mental health taking care of our mental health is part of training. So I want to ask if you've ever been to therapy before, and if you have, what was that like? But if not, I'm open to whatever you have to share.
I have been to, when me and my wife first got married, we had done couples therapy. We did a couple sessions of that before, just because we're trying to blend our lives together, and that really helped. There's a lot of things that really helped our, we had to. Well, I don't know what the book's called, but it's like, what's your love language or something. We had to read something about love languages or something.
Yeah.
So got into that, and that really helped our relationship, and we've been going strong ever since. So I've done that. That's pretty much the only therapy I've done. When I do like to pray and, get into, more of like, turn to God when I'm really, down in the dumps. That seems to help. I don't do it as much as I should, because, I'm just kind of a wild boy at heart, but I do that. That kind of helps me, like almost like a meditation, like just really like get into my roots. You know what I mean? What my purpose is. So that helps. But I am totally into therapy. Like, I feel everybody should work on themselves at all times, no matter what. There's, it's almost like people who aren't in therapy are the ones that are kind of scary. You know what I mean? Like, what? I mean, I'm a therapist. What are you talking about? Everybody should be trying to work on their issues.
Well, I commend you for going to therapy with your wife. I think that is essential to romantic relationships, but really all kinds of relationships. I totally believe in that. I'm not married, but if I get to that stage, that I want to say it's what's her name? Kristen something, and her husband's name is Dax. They went to couples counseling the first month that they dated, and now they're married. She's Kristen Bell, I think. She's Frozen.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's really amazing, and a way to. I don't think that people should be afraid of therapy. I think that it's like having an advisor. People say, "Oh, therapists shouldn't give advice." We give advice. It's just that we're not all-knowing beings. We're just helping you navigate through difficult situations.
People don't want to admit that they have. People don't want to admit that they're not perfect. That's the problem. And it's just like jiu-jitsu. When you're a white belt, you don't want to admit that. Like, the big guy, I could fight. You can't fight. Like, but people don't want to admit that. They just want to be like, I could fight, but you can't. Just like when you want to say, like, I'm up here, you're not. Nobody is until you gotta everything. You always have to work on your.
Right. And I know that I'm in a different type of position because I am a therapist, and I just I enjoy therapy. I enjoy it because it's just another way for me to think. I really enjoy thinking, deep thinking, and so having a conversation with somebody outside of me that can look at the same problem and give me insights that maybe I didn't notice. Um, it's just it's a fun experience to me. Yes, looking at myself is difficult, but not really. I just have I've had several therapists. I have a session later on today. Like it's just kind of a good exercise for me, and um I hope that things kind of move in that direction where people find some joy in therapy, because I get to release so much stuff. Like I get to go dump all my problems on someone, but they also get to teach me how to deal with those problems, fix those problems. So it's not just
Yeah.
like I've been in therapy for years, but it's never for the same reason. Like I'll find a therapist to deal with this aspect of my life, and then maybe terminate sessions, and then I'll find somebody else for a relationship I'm in, or and it's not always bad stuff. Like I've been in a position where I've asked a therapist to help me prepare for a move. I've had a client of mine help. I prepared them for a job interview. Like we're not it's not just all of the tough stuff. Like we are just therapists, and mental health professionals in general are just an outside person that can help you kind of sort through things. So I hope
Especially,
I hope
I would say, especially for the guy who's like Ed, who has to be the strong one, right? In their family or in their circle or whatever it is, it helps them, like, because who do they talk to? Because if they show weakness, then the whole thing falls beneath them. They got to be the strong one, whether it's like going through financial stuff or whatever it is. They got to be the one to, like, you know what I mean? If you got no one to do, like, if you're not religious and you can't turn to like prayer, or you need someone to talk to, like, therapy is great because it's like you can be vulnerable, and it's hard for people to be vulnerable, especially men. It's hard for men to be vulnerable and say, like, I need help, I'm struggling here, help me here, because and a lot of that is because they don't want, like, their wife or their kids sense weakness, this sense like, oh no, we're in trouble, and then that just adds a whole more thing. So you got to be brave. You don't have to be brave in therapy, which is good.
it's in theory, this is going to be varying degrees, but in theory, your therapist is a person who shows you unconditional love, because they're really not biased people. I mean, we're human beings, so we're going to be biased in some way, but our responsibility is to always show up for you so that you can show up for yourself. So yeah, you get to be vulnerable. Mine, we cuss.
Yeah.
We cuss on the show, but just like it's freedom is what it is. And
Right.
this will be something I do for the rest of my life. It's not really something that I feel like I chose. I feel like something chose me, being a therapist. So, I have people, I mean, it just happens all the time where I find myself in a conversation and people just, say, oh, that was so enlightening. And I helped them fix a problem without even trying. It just shows up. So, I'm so grateful to be in a position where I can help people. So I'm going to ask you a final question, and then I'm going to let you ask me whatever you want to ask me. But because I brought up the term freedom, I'm curious, what does freedom look like to you? Just maybe in general, maybe not just in the martial arts world, but you answer however. Yeah.
Freedom to me. I think freedom is, it is what it is. It's been able to, you know, wake up in the morning and have the love of your family and not be influenced by the outside world, to be able to just, you know, live a happy life, healthy, happy life. That's, to me, that's freedom. A lot of people really like lean on the money. You know what I mean? Everybody's money driven. And to me, I feel like if you're so heavy on the money, you're burning on the back end. I'd rather be with my family and have love of my life and make less money and just be able to, raise good kids and do all these things than bringing all this money and not being around, I believe in, like, I, I work to live. I don't live to work. And to me, I just feel like too many people focus on chasing the cash and chasing the cars and chasing this and that. Stuff is cool. But when it comes down to it, I just want to, my ultimate dream is the reason I started social media. Okay. Here's the reason why I started social media, because I was raised by my grandparents. My grandparents, they're no longer here, but there was no video of them. There's nothing of them, no pictures. Like I hardly have any of that stuff. So I kind of like forget what their voices sound like. You know what I mean? And to me, I'm like, well, I'm going to put a lot of stuff on social media. I'm going to put a lot of stuff on my YouTube and all this kind of stuff of me, because generations to come, when I'm gone, my daughter or my son can just type in dad's name. There he is. Boom. There's so much content of me on the internet. Like, I'll live forever. I feel like I can live forever just on the internet. And like, so for me, like, that is what freedom is. Freedom is just family. Family is freedom to me. And just like building your core foundation of people. And, that to me, freedom is, just the love of your family and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Your legacy, you're building your legacy and leaving that to the world. And
legacy. That's legit. I want my grandkids one day to be like looking through my door and seeing medals and seeing like, wow, look, you type in grandpa's name, there he is, all this stuff. And like, they're like, dude, he was a bad dude. Like, he was that guy, and like, that's to me, that's, I just, legacy, freedom, and just a healthy, happy life. That to me is freedom, without anybody telling me what to do and how to do it and how to raise my kids and all that. I just let me control my thing. That's freedom.
That's awesome. I'm gonna ask you one more question, because I just need to. How many kids do you have, and what are their ages?
I have a 5-year-old daughter, and I have a son on the way.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet.
Yep.
A 5-year-old and a baby. Then you have a baby. Okay.
Yeah, little kids.
Okay. That's all my questions, but I want to, and you don't have to ask me any questions, but I want to give space for it, if you'd like to.
So, in your new location, like, do you know people out there that are going to help? Are someone adopting you? Is someone adopting you as a white belt? Or are you just walking in? Just walking in the doors, not knowing.
I found a couple. I just Googled, a few places nearby, but yeah, I haven't gone in to any gyms yet. I'm just like settling. I've been here less than a week, but I'm just like, I realized I was living in Texas. I was living in the South, just fast food, everything, everywhere. I've got to do some detoxing, so I'm just kind of, and I keep hurting my neck. So I'm like, I want to get my physical body ready. And then I want to find a gym, but I want to be, the last time I found a gym, which I'm still very grateful to have found, Limitless, martial arts. I didn't do any research at all. I just Googled, and I was like, oh, that's just down the road, and I'll just go there. And maybe that's what will happen, in this time of my life. But I want to make sure I have a good feeling about it, because it's not just going to be on the professor or the sensei. It's the people that come into the door. The people that I know that were not handling me with care, or people that I didn't feel good around. So I need to make sure that I pay attention to that, and I take it slow. Even if I join a gym for a month, and that feeling comes up, like I'm just looking.
I believe loyalty to your professor in your gym, but I also believe you are paying for a service. So I believe you have your white belt is the time to find out what is best for you. Do you know what I mean? Once you get a blue belt from some guy, then he's awarded you a blue belt. It's like, okay, he's kind of like, I'm his person now. But like you white belt, this is your chance to find a gym that fits you. Find the girls you like to train with. Find your crew. Find your, you know what I mean? Find the camaraderie. This is the time. So I think trying a bunch of gyms, doing their 2 week free trials, just hit all the gyms in the area, free, and then make an assessment what's going to fit best for you. I think that'd be the best bet. Was getting back into it like you are, that's what I would do.
Okay. I will. I'll take my time. It's not like a romantic relationship, like not rushing into it, like asking a lot of questions.
All right. Well, I had an awesome time talking with you.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I was going to double check if you had any other questions, but I am so grateful for you coming on the show and talking to me and connecting with me. And I'm going to end the video, but I want to take a picture with you so that I can, kind of promote this episode. And so I'm going to say goodbye as far as the recording goes. And
Okay.
Okay. Thanks again, Matt, for coming on the show.
Thanks, guys.
And that's it. Thank you for tuning in today to Freedom to Fight. I promise there are ways you can support me. So let me tell you, I am trying to make sure that these episodes are available to everyone. So I don't quite want to make them subscription only. Although I might make some content that's subscription only, maybe me fighting other people. But what I'd like to do is accept donations. I can do that through Spotify. You can make a donation. I'll include the link in the description. Also, you can donate through CashApp. My handle is Freedom7Fight. Freedom to Fight wasn't available. So Freedom7Fight on Cash App. I'll include all the ways that you can make a donation. Nothing's too small or too big. I appreciate all of your support. I have brand new episodes coming. I'm very busy, so I'm really thrilled about that. But thank you for listening to this episode with Matt. Again, he's really influential, and I'm so grateful that I got to be connected with him and continue to be connected with him. Okay, stay tuned for new episodes. Bye for now.